Hi everybody, Carol here at Oak House Journals, and oh my god, I am so excited about finally being able to share this project with you. It's something that I've wanted to do for the best part of 18 months, and if it hadn't been for the support given to me and the gentle nudge to get on with it by my lovely friend Angela Kerr, this probably would not have happened, because at the start of the year, when I mentioned that this was on my to-do list, she gave me that nudge and got me going. And also I need to do a huge shout out as well to my lovely friend in Australia, Leanne, for all her encouragement and supports and oohs and ahs when I've been showing her sneak peeks along the way. I have put a few sneak peeks on Instagram, as anybody who follows me on there might have seen. Apologies if you're not into sneak peeks, but do you know, I just couldn't resist it. I was just so excited. Well, what is it? Well, I call it a creativity box. It's like a bento box, but for crafters like us, for stationery. And let me try and show you what she looks like. So I'm tilting it very gently, so it all might go rapidly downhill in a moment. And that just gives you an idea of what it looks like. It comes on a tray. So if I lift up these packages here for you, it has a wooden tray like so. This is just an extra sheet, so you can see nice tray, wooden tray underneath. And then there are two separate boxes. This one is quite deep at the back. Dimensions, let's give you those. The tray is 31 centimetres by 24 centimetres, and it's about 3/4 of an inch deep. And then the trays are 16.5 by 11.5 centimetres, which is this one obviously, and 10 centimetres by 15 centimetres. So they sit really nicely inside the tray and give you a portion or an area to one side. You can also put them sideways on your tray if you wish. So let me tell you what's in all the packages. Now, what I've done is, this one is all packaged and tied and decorated so that you can see what will be coming in your own individual box. And then I have one off to the side of me here, which the packaging is all open so that I can show you what's in each parcel. So let's start. In this first tray, there's just a business card tucked in the front, between the front of the first box and the tray. So in this first one, let me just move it to one side for you there. There's 25 packages or parcels or envelopes throughout, and I've decorated each and every one of them for you. And there's some other items, as you can see, little bits and bobs tucked away, and I'll cover all of that. So first off, vintage French linen thread. There is a spool of that. It's ivory or cream in colour, and there's 10 meters on the spool. And those of you that have been over to my Etsy shop, Oak House Journals, will know that I sell this over there, and it's very popular. Lovely for tying up your tags, and as you'll see, for decorations that I'm doing. So there is a spool of that. The next is this little envelope here, and if I hold it up to the camera, you can see these tiny weeny lovely little tags. And these are slightly different. The packaging is slightly different in each one. The one I've got off to the one side, it has got grey packaging, but inside you have a mixture of these tiny little tags. There's approximately 30 in here. It's a mixture between 300 gram ivory cardstock little tags and some craft cardstock tags. So that's what's in that one. The next parcel is this little one. And if I just slide this belly band off to one side, my idea with a lot of the packaging was that you could use it in your own journals. So you will find that none of the envelopes have been sealed down so that you can use them in your own journals, etc. Inside here is a selection of whale tail tabs. Now there's about 20 in each. They are double-sided cardstock, so you have a really pretty mix of beautiful rose floral on one side, and then on the reverse side you've got plain colours. So there's colours that tie in and match with the overall colour theme of the box. So that's in that package. Just going to seal that up very quickly in its belly band, or with its belly band. The next parcel is this one. As you can see, I have stamped a piece of linen thread and stitched round it, and it's sealed just with a little piece of washi tape, so that's easy enough to peel off without damaging the packaging. And I have one off to one side here that will open. So as you can see, in here I have stamped a selection of linen, a couple with eyelets for you to use as tags, and there's another one there which hasn't been stamped, and then there's just a lovely little selection, some butterflies, some birds, some botanicals, all nicely frayed for you, and then a specimen one there, and that's the one that I've used on the front of the envelope. So the idea really was to give you an idea of what you could do with these labels, and you'll find that I've done that on most of the packaging as I've decorated each parcel. Now the next one is this one. Now like an idiot, I actually sealed my example up, so as you can see I've sealed it up, which was a bit stupid, but I do know that inside here are approximately 10 of these little pressed stud flowers that I've made, and it's a selection of, some are yellows and some are greys and some are pale blues. Some have pressed studs for the centres like this one, and some have brads, but there's a selection of those inside this little parcel here. Okay, so that's that one. This envelope is full of tickets. As you can see, I've decorated with some tickets on the front of the pouch, and if I go to my example and just pull it off, inside this it's a mixture of about 30 contemporary and vintage tickets. So if I just pull these out, so you have a selection of these number tickets. There's a vintage one there. Turn that around for you. There's a whole strip of those number tickets. Some more vintage ones there. Then some of these contemporary ones, so these open right out. I use these a lot in my collaging, and I really like these. So you've got 3 of those. Then there's some more of these type tickets. Some blank ones. And then these peel off, and these are sticker types. So various letters for those. Let me pop that one back on its card. And then some of these which are double-sided, as you can see, and you've got 3 sheets of those, and there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 on each sheet. So quite a nice selection there of tickets. Put those back in there. And again, just some stamping and collaging on this sleeve. So that's that one. So the next we have is, where are we? This little one here. And that's what this one looks like. And you have a vellum piece over some handmade paper, tied up with some avil twine, set with an eyelet through a glassine envelope. And the images on the front are all slightly different. This is the one I've got off to one side as my example, and this is the one in this box. And again, I did the same trick. I've sealed that one up, but I have here to one side a selection of what's in there. And you have approximately 13 of these vintage cards with various images on the top, or stamped on the top, I should say. There we go. So there's 13 of those. They don't want to go in that package, do they? I'll pop those over to one side and sort them later. Then in this little package here, you have some die cut discs with either, there's two colours, there's green, there's red or there's black. They either have numbers or prices on, or date stamps on those. And there's about, I think, let me think how many in there. So there's a selection of price, number and date discs, and there's approximately 20 in there. There's a little glassine, not glassine, vellum image there. And under this paper clip here, if I can get it off, it's a little bit tight, this one. You have two mini Ranger envelopes, tiny little ones, decorating this bag, like so. A little sheet of vellum for you to use, and then these discs tucked away in here. And unfortunately I've sealed this one down because this is the one in this box, and not the example box, which I don't seem to be using, do I? But anyway, that's that. Then we have this one, and this is a collaged, it's a curly paper clip, as I call them, a collaged paint chip here, as you can see. And then inside this little glassine bag there is a lace dangle on one of the ribbon crimps that you can buy. So there's a selection of mini little laces, snippets on there. And Leanne, you'll probably notice some of yours, and that's a vintage piece, and that's another vintage piece, and there's a vintage piece of fabric at the back there. So those, and it's on a lobster claw with some avil twine tied at the top. Let's just pop that one to one side. The next envelope, or glassine envelope, is a selection of die cuts. Now these have all been cut in pink, and they're all butterflies. As you can see, there's some large ones in there. Where they're showing through white, they're actually pink, but that's the reverse side of them. There's a little lace collage at the top, and you can see I've used some of the butterflies. Tiny, tiny little one there at the top. And then I've layered up two of the sizes here and put a half pearl in the middle, just to dimensionalise it. So there's a selection of those in there, and there's about 20 pieces or 20 die cut butterflies in there. The next one is this one, and again you'll have seen most of these images on Instagram. This is a lace collage that I've done, or some layering of lace, some vintage pink lace there, some contemporary lace, this beautiful white lace which was gifted to me by Leanne and I couldn't resist using it. And then these on the top here are silk petals, and what is in this envelope is these. There is a selection of these silk petals, two colours. There's the very soft pale pastel pink, which are the larger ones, and then these ivory coloured ones which are slightly smaller with a hint of pink as well. So there's a selection of those inside that envelope there. Okay, so what else do we have in here? Well, you have a selection on a of French number cards on a bulb pin. You have 2 full rolls of washi tape, one large, one wide and one smaller. You have a wooden spool of baker's twine. Now the colours vary in each box. This one just happens to be pink. It's on a wooden spool, as I say, and I don't know exactly how much is on each spool because I bought these, but I believe there will be a good 3 meters on that. There's a tiny little glass bottle filled with glitter, and again these will vary depending on which box you get. This one's got blue in and this one's got pink inside. And there is a selection of labels and tags, again on a ball pin there. And then this is a little plastic box, and the lid screws off, and inside there's a ball pin with some of these tiny sequin dangles for you to use. And there's 4 of these little chain and sequin dangles. They're so small, they're awkward to try and show you. They're about 1 inch long, and I use them quite a bit as embellishments in my journals, through eyelets, or even with a a jump ring. And here's an example of a little floating pocket that I like to include in some of my journals, and as you can see I've just threaded 2 of those sequin chains through a jump ring, and they're just really effective. Add a little bit of bling without being over the top. So there's 4 of those on a silver bulb or garment pin for you to use. Okay, so onward and upward. So let's do the tray at the side, shall we? So here we have 2 tags. These will vary depending on which box you get. So that's a tag in that box. Just very plain and simple. A little bit of ribbon at the top, a nice image and a wide eyelet there. There is a multiplication card that I've altered by doing a bit of decoupaging, and they have a Ranger embellishment of some sort. Some have hearts. On this one I've just put one of the, I don't know what this design was called, but this is one of the larger metal ones with a number 5 inside. Okay, so the next we have is this envelope here. Now this is an envelope that has vintage images in. You have some stamped handmade paper on the top, tied through the top with some Avril twine and these black resin leaves for decoration. And if I take you through the one I've got to one side, which I haven't sealed up, again you can see this is just slightly different. Obviously it's not closed with the Avril twine at the top, but the handmade paper and the stamping is slightly different on this one. And going inside, as I say, we've got vintage images in here, and there's approximately 15 in each. So you have, if I flip it over, you have 3 vintage tea cards of bird images. You have a page of tea cards for butterflies. There's 3 tea cards on that one. And there is a page of the botanical ones, like so, with ones on the reverse. Then there are 2 double pages from the Observer Book of Plants, and this is a vintage copy, or flowers actually, flowers and shrubs, like so. Then you have 2 pages, double pages, and this is 18th century book page from a Shakespearean play. Lovely, lovely. And when I got this book, I actually had to rip the sides because it hadn't been ripped. Then there are 3 contemporary images in each pack. And that's the 3rd. And actually there's 4. There's a larger one, like so, in each pack, and these images will differ between the packs, I'm afraid. And then there's 2 diary pages with some gorgeous ghosted images, really soft ghosted images of birds. And again, if anybody's seen my trifold mini journals, you will see I always use these in them. I just think they're lovely. Even though the images are ghosted or shadowy, they are still vibrant and clear enough. The colours are just beautiful. So you've got 15 vintage botanical images in that envelope. Going on to my next, which is this envelope. This is a large black envelope with some vellum on the front and a wax seal of a bee. And inside this envelope are approximately 12 pieces of vintage book pages. So this is my undecorated one, and if I open it up I can show you the book pages that are inside this envelope. So approximately 12 pieces, so there's some very, very tiny dictionary page there, which is a French one. Then there's another page, double page, and then I think this is an Italian one. Yeah, so there's slightly larger Italian one, and again double pages, so we have 2 of those. Then there's a piece of vintage ledger, a vintage music sheet, like so. Then there is a piece of Japanese temple paper, and this is absolutely gorgeous. It's double thickness, although I can't seem to open it up at the moment. There we go, hang on. This is lovely, and I love using this in my journals and collages. It's absolutely gorgeous, and that's a true vintage piece. All of these are vintage pieces. This piece is a piece from an 18th century Bible, and look at that end cap, it's absolutely lovely. So lots of different size fonts on here, and trust me, this was coming from our own family Bible, which was massive, but unfortunately she was falling to bits, so she couldn't be saved. So I'm happy for her to be repurposed and to go to each of you for a new home. I've still got plenty of pages at home here. This is a vintage receipt. Can I see a date on it? 1927 this receipt is. Then part of a vintage French document, a piece of indenture paper, and this is waxed indenture paper. And again, if anybody saw the Friendship Journal challenge that Rachel did and noticed my entry, I used the rest of this document to make the loaded pocket that was my entry for Rachel. But this is lovely. It's actually true indenture paper before they were called conveyances, and before they were done on parchment. They were done on this waxed paper, and as you can see, there's an original seal on the back of this piece. Then there's part of an old document there of military music, and a vintage book page with images on there. And I think that's single thickness, just one sheet of that, and then some vintage map paper there. So they all go in this envelope. And then we move on to this envelope, and again another big one of those black envelopes. This one's got a collage. You'll notice this is the Ranger Tim Holtz botanical collage tissue paper, and then I've done various labels and handmade papers, washies, and this is washi tape with a half pearl on the front cover. So in that one, and here is my example for you. Inside this one are approximately 13 pieces of various book pages and sheets of paper and ledger paper and envelopes and receipts that I thought you might like to have a play with and use in your journals. So there's an invoice there. There is one of my vintage clog receipts. If I can, there it is, just tucked away in there. There's French ledger paper. There's a postcard. What else have we got? Tiny little receipt there. Some coin envelopes, some salary envelopes. This is a straw paper envelope. And this green here is a plain certificate on parchment. There's some analytical paper in there. So all sorts of different types of paper. A nice selection for you to have a play with and use in your journals. Okay, so let's pop these back together. And then we can go on to, if I leave those out, then we can go on to the back box, which I'm just going to move that up to one side and see if I can get this in frame a little bit for you. So that's the back box. And let's do the incidentals round the outside. So first off, there are two bundles of labels. There is a smaller bundle here. Let me get back in frame for you. There is a smaller bundle here of a selection of tea-stained plain tags. And then there is a bundle here of tags that I've stamped with number images on and floral images. And then on the front, as an example, I've just done a little collage and decorated tag. Then we have two bundles of seam binding. One's in pink, as you can see, and the other is in blue. Both beautiful soft pastel shades. And there's about 2 meters on these. Now, there may be more, but unfortunately I didn't jot it down when I was measuring these out, so I can't exactly remember, but there's certainly 2 meters, if not 3 meters of each colour in those little bundles. Then we have 3 dolly pegs tucked down the side. So the first one, there is a 1 inch wide piece of vintage fabric ribbon on there, and these vary slightly between the boxes. This one is a soft pink and pastel shades. I think it's the same. This one is slightly different, it's got some text on it, but it is vintage fabric. Then this, oh, and in terms of length, there's about 1 metre on here, and again, I didn't keep a record. It might be 1.5 metres, but I know that there is certainly 1 metre on there. Then there is this dolly peg with a 6-stranded piece of Avril twine, and on this one, again, there's certainly 3 metres, there may be more. So that's wound on there. If anybody has seen my recent laminated tags, you will know that I used these to make the insert to the laminated tags, and throughout the whole of the box I've used these for decoration. So you can use the Avril twine like so with all 6 strands together, or you can easily separate off 1 or 2 or 3 strands and just use those as you want. So these Avril twines go a long way, so they're really lovely to have. And these, in each box, it's a beautiful shade of pinks and creams and blues. And then finally on this dolly peg is 2 selections of white, very delicate lace. This one, as you can see, is about 1 inch, and this one's about 2 inches. And again, there's certainly 2 meters on there, possibly more, but again, like an idiot, I didn't keep a record, so I'm very sorry about that, but I didn't want to unravel them before I did the video, just to tell you what's what. Okay, so I'm just going to move this back, and I'm going to take you through what is in the packages in this back box. If I put that to one side for you and just pop those back in there. So in this first one, this one, as you can see, I've done a black tag with some collaging. One of the number tickets, I've tried to show how I've used what's included in the box on the packaging. I think I've already said that throughout, so that you get an idea. So this is just some stamping, a tag that I've made, and then some Avril twine just threaded through. And here is my example one. So if I open this up, this one is my dangles envelope. So inside here there are where are we? 5 dangles. So this little dangle here on a ball pin was one that was inspired by Britta, so thank you so much, Britta. I had a great time making these beautiful little dangles. Then I have this little one, which is on a coilless safety pin with a couple of beads, a little bit of lace, a paper flower, a large sequin, a tiny bit of lace with a half pearl on it, and it is tucked away in that little pocket. And again, it's on another paint sample. So that one is in there. So easy enough just to unclip and use it in your journals straight away. This one is a little lace snippet. So again, on a paint sample, a couple of layers of silk, green silk, and a couple of layers of lace, some eyelash trim, and a vintage button, mother of pearl button stitched on there. This one is held on with a little glue dot, but they're not permanent glue dots, so it will easily come off the card if you want to use it off the card, or you could use it on the card, whichever you wish, if you wanted to use it like that in your journals. And then in here, I've done a couple of my little safety pin dangles for you. If I slide those out, this one is one of the little ones where I tie tassels and make tassels. and this one I've just threaded through some beautiful peacock colour, I call them, seed beads. So that's what lives in this envelope. Pop that off to one side. The next envelope is this one, and this one I've decorated with labels, some stamping, a letterpress image, some rub-ons. I've done a clear wax seal here and tied it with Avril twine, and this is a butterfly box, so you just lift that butterfly up and lift the flap and it all opens up in 3 parts. And inside these, because again, like an idiot on my example, I've sealed it up as well, but inside here there is a vintage Kodak slide. There are some flashcards, both French and Italian flashcards. There is one of the multiplication cards. So one of these, before it was decoupaged over the top, so that you can have a play yourself and have a go at that if you want to. And then there are a selection of vellum images, and the images are botanical, birds and butterflies. So where I have used, let me find one, here and here, as you can see, images, these are some of the images that you will find inside this envelope. So what I've used here, obviously you will find inside there as well. The next envelope is this one. And again, this is another one where I've been an idiot and sealed it up. This is a belly band, and inside this glassine envelope are a selection of die cuts. So there are frames. You've got large frames and small frames. So this is the large frame, and I will show you the small one in just a moment. And also the innards. So these pieces in here, you've also got inside. You've got 2 sizes of slides, die cuts, for you to make your own vintage slides if you wish, or take on a vintage slide, although in that last envelope there was a true vintage slide in there. And you also get one very ornate nameplate, which you can just see the top corner of it there poking out behind the frame. So that's what's in there. In the next pocket, this is literally a collage pocket. So you've got some rice paper over the top. You've got some washi here and here. You've got a label, some stamp paper, or the grid paper that you put vintage stamps on. And then you also have a customs label tucked away in the back. Now, these custom labels are actually redundant, so don't worry about that. But this is just a pocket, and inside the pocket is 2 acetate tags of more washi tape. So there's 7 on this tag. So there's like a mathematical geometry style. I love this one. This has got French script written on it, some beautiful toning plain washi there. This is some Ranger, then one with botanical images, and then one of pink roses and one of like a peachy coloured rose. So on here there's at least 1 metre of each of these washi tapes, and then on this one these are just plain colours for those of you who prefer something a little bit plainer. This is a honeycomb one, so would maybe go well in a bead journal with hints of gold, then some ornate gold, almost glittery one there, and then some reds up here and greens, which I thought might go well with Christmas coming up for everybody. You might be able to use those in your Christmas journals. So those just slide in there, and again on both those cards there's roughly 1 metre, certainly no less than 1 metre, of each of those washi tapes. On the plain one, which was this one, there's a selection of 8 washies, and on the botanical one, as I call it, there's a selection of 7 washi tapes on that one. So that's that. The next you've probably seen, as I did a selection of Instagram pictures on this little labels folio, and I also did a tutorial on it. But there is a collage sleeve, and if I open it up, a little bit tight this one, there is a folio inside with a selection of labels galore actually in these. And if I open it up inside, you can see more labels with collaging down at the bottom, and again more labels at the back. And there are, if I remember rightly from the top of my head, at least 25 labels of the larger labels in this little folio. And then also inside here is a tiny little glassine bag with 6 of these tiny little images in. If I can get them to come out of the envelope, there we go. Some of these tiny little images in, like so. And as you can see, I've used them on the label for the vintage French linen thread. So there's 6 of those tiny little images in a glassine envelope in this folio as well. And as I say, this folio just tucks inside this vellum sleeve. Like so. Okay, and that's the back. And we have a loose label there, but I'll sort that out later. Okay, almost getting to the end, ladies. In this glassine bag, I have done a selection of 3 different types of Avril twine. So there's a white one, there's more of a greeny one, and then there's a bluey one. And again, like an idiot, I've sealed the bag up, I think. Let me just look at my example one to see it. No, I didn't. For once, I didn't seal it up. So this is what it looks like inside, and this is your selection of Avril twine. Each of these have 5 or 6 different twines making up each one. And in terms of length, there is certainly 2, I'd say definitely 1.5 meters of each, maybe 2 off the top of my head. As I say, certainly 1.5, maybe 2 meters of twine for each one. So that's that one. What have we now? Oh yes, we have this one. Now this is just like, I call it my blue bundle, and there's 5 pieces to it. You've got a coilless safety pin. You have a little card with a little bit of layering there. You've got a bulb pin with some tiny little tags. There's a rectangular one and 2 circle ones, one big, one small, tied with a little Avril twine at the top. You have an embossed image on some handmade paper. You have a wallpaper tag with some Avril twine, and again this is on handmade paper. There is a wallpaper pocket, nothing inside it, but I just love the colours. And then you have a dry embossed tag with some of the blue crinkle seam binding, another little rectangular tag with a tiny button on it, a blue safety pin at the top, and some seed beads. And as you can see, this is just embossed. So I just thought that made a nice little collection, just to give you an idea of what you could do with the things that are in the box. So that goes like so. And then we have this bundle here, and this is a paper bag that I've stitched round and done a pocket at the front here and done some layering and collaging. There is a tag here inside. This is a vellum pocket here, and again this is some of the vellum images that I mentioned were in one of the earlier paper packs. So again, to give you an idea of what you can do with them, here's some wallpaper that I've put on this tag, and this is a paint sample. And the smaller frame that I mentioned, that was the larger frame. This is one of the smaller frames, and it gives you an idea of what you can do with the smaller frames if you don't want to actually use them in your journal. You can make dangles, and again, if anybody's seen my Instagram feed, you will have seen that I've made loads of these little dangles. And then the back, the insert to this one, I've used to back the frame. So as you can see, this is a paint sample that I've stitched round, made into a tag, and the back I've just covered with some book page. So if I show you my example, if I go inside this one, I've put in this package a selection of paint samples, and I just picked out 5 just lovely colours. All the packets are the same. They will have these lovely colours, blues and pinks, with like a blending. It's almost like a very soft grey purple, that very, very delicate, but blends well either with the blue or that Clarice pink, and then a deeper green. And these are what I used for my dangles. I've used for tags. I've used for my little snippets, just these chopped up, and there's a couple of circular ones there in a gorgeous shade of pink on a ball pin with a vintage button. But yeah, just really, really simple, lovely to use. I love this shape actually. Unfortunately, I did have to chop them down a little bit and chop about 1 inch off the bottom, which was quite a shame, but I couldn't fit them into the bag otherwise, unfortunately. So that's what's in that bundle there. Okay, we now come to this one. Now this is a bundle of handmade paper. There's a decorated tag on the front with handmade paper, a little label, some vellum, some stamping, Avril twine, and then a little mini collage that I've done here. Now I did sell these paper bundles in my Etsy shop a while back, and they flew out, and I didn't get a chance to make any more. There's a belly band with vellum on here tied round with some Avril twine, and then the whole of the paper bundle is wrapped in this beautiful, beautiful Japanese paper, which is lovely and thin, really, really nice. And I have a list here of how many pieces. There's approximately 24 pieces of paper in here. So let me give you a run through of what is in there. There is some green painter's masking paper. There's piano roll paper in green, brown, pale blue and ivory. There's some brown handmade paper with ferns on it. There's cream Japanese rice paper, ivory Japanese handmade paper, Thai mulberry paper, photo album transparency protector sheets. There is a beautiful printed mulberry paper, 4 different handmade floral papers with petals and leaves in, Yuki paper, which is a beautiful rich green handmade paper made in Japan. There's some olive coloured Lokta paper, which again is Japanese. Indian elephant dung paper. I couldn't resist including that in there. And there's Nepalese wax paper, 3 different colours. There's green, blue and orange. There's the Vietnamese fern handmade paper in brown and orange. And finally, some of the Japanese sanwa paper, which is very, very delicate, almost gossamer thin paper. So there are, as I say, 24 pieces in there tucked away, which I'm quite pleased with because they're lovely papers to work with. And then going on to something else, this is a sample of wallpapers. So some of the lace that's on the dolly peg, I've used to tie it at the top. So if you undo it, this lace goes round, so you've got a really good section of this lace. So you've got about 1 metre there. And then this is the sample pack. And there's 7 samples or 7 pieces here, and they're all about probably about at least 6 by 3 inches. So you've got this one, this one, this one, beautiful grey one, love that, just love that. Then this mustardy yellow one, which is really nice as well. I love working with this. And then this one. So you've got 7 pieces of that, but also you may remember that I also lined the tray with a piece of wallpaper. So this piece is A4 size. So that's a good size portion. And then finally, tucked away right at the back, we have this envelope with a wax seal on it. And this one has tea bags in it, and the tea bags inside this one are 2 sizes. You've got this size, which is the slightly larger size. I hold that up there with the drawstring at the top, and these are a gorgeous, they're brand new, they haven't been used, but they have this gorgeous colour to them, so they're really nice for using for stamping on or not, as the case may be. And then we have the smaller size, which is, if I hold it up against this one, you can see the difference in size, slightly smaller. So there's 5 of each in each of these 2 sizes, tucked away inside this envelope. So there we have it, everybody. Thank you so much. Bit of a mammoth session going through all of this, but thank you so much for letting me share the Oak House Journal Creativity Box with you. I hope you have enjoyed seeing them as much as I've enjoyed putting them together over the last few weeks. Well, I'm lying there, not last few weeks, last few months, because even though there's only 10 of these boxes available, you can imagine how long it's taken me to put all this lot together and to decorate everything so that it was as pretty as I could possibly make it for you. I wanted to make sure that what was in these boxes was something that I would want to buy myself and something that I would want to use. I would want inspiration in terms of how to use some of the things in the box as well. So that is what I've tried to do throughout, so that you have plenty of ideas for how to use what is in the box that will inspire you and give you inspiration. So I hope I've managed to do that. I also wanted to make sure that you were going to get absolute value for money when you purchase these boxes. The downside was that I was hoping, beyond hope, to be able to list these in my Etsy shop on Saturday, but this week, I hate to tell you, has been an absolute nightmare and a half for me. My accounts were hacked, which has affected absolutely everything, not least my Etsy shop, which means that unless I can get the issue that I have resolved with Etsy, I won't be able to list these on Saturday. But what I will do is I will keep you posted, and if I'm not able to list them within the next few days on Etsy, then I will come back online and I will have an alternative method of getting these to you if you are interested in purchasing one of these from me. All I can do is absolutely apologise for that and holding back on being able to make these available to you. As I say, I hope it won't be more than a couple of days before I come back with availability on Etsy or through some other means. I know that these are in wooden boxes. I know that they are all right as far as customs are concerned. And I also know that they are all right in terms of getting them under the 2 kilogram weight before the shipping absolutely rockets. I have checked on what the shipping is to worldwide zone 1 and 2 and the UK, and I'm pleased to say that it's not absolutely extortionate. But more on that when I know how I'm going to make these available to you. All I can say now is thank you again massively to Angela and to Leanne for all your nudges, encouragement and support when I got severe cold feet so many times. And thank you everybody for bearing with me as I've tried to show you what I've included in each box. I hope you like them and I hope you are as thrilled with them as I am myself. So thanks so much everybody. Take care, and I will be back soon about the availability. Bye bye, take care.